Any TikTok person saying that 401ks are a scam are delusional, and not the fun kind of delusional. Hello, rich friend. I'm the Bougie Budgeter, and let's talk money. More importantly, let's talk 401ks. Oh my gosh, 401ks. I am obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with my 401k. I'm obsessed with how successful I have become, and I cannot wait. When I hit 100k in my 401k, I'm going to dance. Like, I'm going to do a backflip, because any TikTok person saying that 401ks are a scam are delusional, and not the fun kind of delusional. It's the kind of delusional where, like, you're just like, are you okay? Are you all right? They'll go into like, oh, the rich doesn't use them, because 401ks weren't really created for the rich. They were created for the middle class. Over the years, a lot of people have been able to get access to 401ks, and a lot more people have become 401k millionaires. Everyone's not going to be Mark Zuckerberg, but building your 401k is a tried and true method. The people who talk about like the infinite banking or trying to get you to get these insanely expensive life insurance policies, they're talking about, oh, like you can borrow against your life insurance policy. You can do that with the 401k as well. Every year, the government gives every person who has access to a 401k a cap or a maximum amount of money that you can put in. When I started working, the maximum was $19,500. Recently, it has increased to $20,500, and I think that there is going to be another increase. Don't quote me on that. I think that it is. It's continuously increasing. That's really all the fact of the matter. So the government says, hey, you can't put in more than $20,500 in this calendar year. I reached $50,000 in my 401k before I turned 25, and it was completely on accident. I really wasn't gunning for $50,000, but that's really substantial, and that's putting me on the path to, you know, by the time I'm in like my 40s, I'll be surefire to be a 401k millionaire. I'm excited about it. I want to remind you to run your own race. Just because you see someone on the internet that talks about being successful and, you know, how much money they've invested, how much money they have, how much money they've saved, that doesn't mean that you're not in the right place. That doesn't mean that you're not a success. That doesn't mean anything. All this is to serve to say is to run your own race. And when you run your own race, you're always going to win. Ooh. When you run your own race, you're always going to win. My company match is incredibly high. And I didn't know that my company match was so high until I started talking to other people about what their company matches were. My friends who are also in corporate spaces, they were only getting like 4%. 4% is a high thing. Whenever I tell someone that I have an 8% match, they're like, what? What? Because that is a very high match. So companies get incentives for offering these different benefits. To encourage their employees to use this resource, which is a 401k, they offer a company match. So for every dollar up until a certain amount, they will put the exact same amount in there. I think that you can put up to like 50% of your total paycheck into your 401k. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, ask me the questions. Always ask me the questions if you need a clarifying understanding. I'm always game to answer more questions about specific topics, especially if it doesn't make any sense to you, because some of this stuff is really confusing. Or if you're job searching, that's a question that you should always ask, is how much is the percent match? And I don't think I've ever gone on an interview and heard anything more than 8%. 8% is pretty substantial. The other thing that was really beneficial is that from day one, I was fully vested. So what fully vested means is your company says, okay, girl, if you're contributing 8% of your paycheck to 401k, we'll contribute also 8%. We're not going to actually start matching your contribution until you have worked with the company for, it could be 1 year, 2 years. I think the longest I've seen is like 5 years. We won't, like, we'll give you the money, but we're not going to give it to you. We're not going to give it to you until you have proven that you want to work with the company for 1, 2, or 5 years, whatever. Sometimes it's 3. But my company was fully vested day one. So from day one, my company matched those dollars. Now, that's a little different from when you're ready to take money out of your 401k, or if you're ready to leave the company. If you're ready to leave, then they'll tell you how much money you can actually take with you. I had to be at the company for 3 full years before I could walk away with all of the money that they matched in my 401k. So if that was confusing, you have your contribution, your company's match, or their contribution, then your vested dollars. So when the company actually puts that money into your 401k, and then how much money you can actually take with you when you leave has its own waiting period. That's a little confusing, I know, but starting off with the 8% match was the first key for me. That was the first thing that was really beneficial for me and my growth. The next thing, you can only invest how much money that you have, right? Because investing is not the first thing, and you have to have your own safety net. But because I have always been a relatively high earner, I've always had extra money to invest. Think about that. I've been investing 10% of my income has always gone to my 401k. So when I was making $62,000 to when I started making $90,000. Now that I live by myself, I have the lowest amount, which is still 8%, but 8% of $90,000. Like, you have to think of it in that sense. And also, these are pre-tax dollars. If I'm doing 10% of $60,000, that's $6,000. 10% of $90,000 is $9,000. That's a lot of money. The other thing about 401ks that I don't really like that people try to discredit is that for a very long time, Black and brown people did not have access to them. And why did we not have access to 401ks? Simply because we didn't have access to corporate America. We weren't getting those jobs that even gave us these types of benefits. So we never had the opportunity to become a 401k millionaire. We've never had the opportunity to really invest our dollars in such a way, or for 401ks to be our first type of investment, because we did not have the space to be in these environments, in these spaces. And now that we are, I want to make sure that people are taking advantage of it. The other thing that I was able to do was cut expenses. And cutting expenses, obviously, like, where you live is the biggest part. And I lived with my parents. I lived with my parents for the first 4 years of my career. I just moved to Arizona, so I don't live with my parents anymore. Living with my parents was one of the things that helped me cut down a lot of my expenses. I didn't have any other like major bills, nothing more than the only other major bill I had was like my car insurance, and I paid that every 6 months. My car insurance and my car note. Those were the only major bills that I had. I think the first like 6 months of me working in corporate, I was contributing 15% of my income. Again, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to be contributing, because I didn't have anything else to do with my money. Like, what else am I supposed to do but to invest and grow that money as much as I can possibly. Replay that. I had the 8% match. I did not have that many expenses, and I was contributing a lot of money to my 401k, and I had a higher salary to contribute a lot more to my 401k. That's what grew my investment to $50,000. My trajectory for my 401k increased when I understood what rebalancing was and what my allocations were. So understanding rebalancing and working with my financial advisor took me from the 30,000 that I had like at the end of 2019, because I rebalanced at the end of the year now, and like around open enrollment time, November, December timeframe is when I rebalance. And I learned how to look at my portfolio, see what's going well, see what I need to continue to do, and what allocations I probably should roll back on. And that just helped improve my 401k so much better, and I'm paying so much less in fees than if I would have used the target date fund. Nothing wrong with the target date fund if you don't want the hassle. Rebalancing literally only takes about 20 minutes once a year. Like, come on. You shouldn't like sit and pay enormous fees in your 401k when you can do certain things by yourself. Sometimes it's okay to DIY. Sometimes it's okay to have somebody help you with it. But target date funds, they're okay. They're not the worst, but there are a lot of things that you can do better. And let me know if you want to have a conversation about rebalancing, what to look for. From that, I was able to take a loan out of my own money, my 401k, and use that to reinvest into my business. So I took the money that I used to invest, flipped that, and put it back into my business to make more money. And that's the whole thing. Like, that's really how you flip a brick, right? Like, that's really how you flip it. When you take your 401k loan out, you're paying the interest back to yourself. It's not like it's your money. Like, it's the money that you had in your account. You are reinvesting it. And when you pay on the loan, you're paying the interest back to yourself. There's no harm, no foul. And I'm so glad that I did that. I'm so glad that I pushed myself to make these big investments, so that now later on, like now that I'm in my late 20s, almost, getting close to the 30s, getting close to 30, I have more money to reinvest. I have more money to use to do a lot of other things, and I have more options. And that's the main thing. The main takeaway from this is that money provides options, and the more options that you provide for yourself, the better it will be. Sometimes we do want to just do it by ourselves, and we don't have the capacity to have anyone else help us. But with that being said, most times, I know my 401k is through Fidelity. There's Fidelity, Vanguard, Voya, I think also has a 401k. All of these companies usually have some type of financial literacy, financial component where you can talk to somebody through your investments and through your 401k. Talk to somebody. Get somebody to help you with these things. Don't try to do everything by yourself. I promise you it will make a world of difference. And that's all I have for you today. I hope that this was beneficial. Let me know, because listen, I know you're gonna let me know because you don't be playing with me, and I know you're gonna let me know when, like, hey girl, this did not make sense, you need to do a little bit better, break this concept down for me, and I want you to tell me that. So let me know in the comments if there's anything that I missed, anything that you want to know more about, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.